So I'm saying, so far I've been educated, conditioned by religion, by society, by my parents, and so on, that I am an individual. My soul, my Atman, my characteristic is entirely individual. And salvation lies through the individual soul searching God, or etc., and sitting on the right-hand side of God. We are conditioned to that so tremendously, right? That's a fact. We are so heavily conditioned. Someone comes along and says, look, that may not be true. Right? It may be totally false. And you might brush him off because you don't want to listen to it. But if you listen to it, he explains why very carefully. And you begin to see that what he says may be true. Maybe. But the condition is so strong, the habit is so heavily anchored, that you refuse to go the entire distance of what he's talking about. Are we doing that now? Are we saying, my habit, my condition prevents me from seeing whether what you are saying is false or true?
I think that's the situation I find myself in. I can understand.
Yes, therefore, one must be free from the anchor before you can find out what is true or what is false. You can't be anchored and say, let me look. Because the length of the anchor may be very, very short. It is always short. I don't know. Whatever the length you may have, a mile, but it's still short. So, as long as you have an anchorage, you cannot examine what is true and what is false. So one has to find out if you can let go, pull up the anchor and move.
Which means self-knowledge has no place.
Self-knowledge is there for you to look. The story is there.
But how would that come about? To observe oneself, to be more alert on oneself?
Not more, less, just look, sir.
Yes.
Krishnaji, you said that perhaps the first step in this was for there to be no division between the observer.
The first step is freedom from anchorage. Freedom from the stake. Then next is to look and find out whether looking from the observer is looking. And discover for oneself the observer is the observer.
Is that why you're saying that one should mirror oneself? One is mirroring oneself in relationship with other people. Is that part of it?
Me. So the me is the anchor.
Yes.
Which has been, I'm tired of repeating this.
The observer is the anchor. The observer is the anchor.
The observer is the anchor. Is the past. But what is the difficulty in this?
Seems part of the difficulty seems to be, well, with me anyway, that as soon as we start talking about this, I'm already thinking, I'm already wanting to know.
I don't
think
want
it seems to be with a lot of us.
I said I don't want to know. I just want to see what is happening.
Yes, but that seems to be the problem, because one's already moving, you see.
There's no problem. I just want to see how that camera works. I can't say, well, it must work this way, that way, but I don't know how it works, so I look.
So there's no longer any question of moments of insight which then vanish because you're just looking and it's going, it's
I'm
not
just
moments
asking,
which vanish.
first I said, look, to understand somebody, I must remove my anchor. That's so obvious. If I want to understand you, I can't stick to my particular prejudice, right? So I must be free of that first.
Yes.
Then I say, how do I look at you? Do I look at you from my past experience about you, from my past knowledge, from my past idiosyncrasy or the stupidities, or the observer is looking at you, so dividing. You understand?
Yes.
But when I look at you, you are me. Because you go through the same. I can't repeat this 17 times.
Well, can you say what follows that then, sir?
Then, if you go into it, that is, the observer is the observed, the experiencer is the experience, the thinker is the thought. There is no division between the thinker and the thought, between the experiencer and the experience, between the observer and the observed, psychologically, I'm talking, not observing a tree. Now, if that is so, then you have altogether eliminated conflict, because there is no division. Conflict exists when there is division between me and the thing I am observing. I am angry, I am violent, but my tradition, my conditions say I must not be violent. So I have divided immediately. There is division. And so in that division there is conflict. I must control my violence, rationalize, escape, and so on. So when I recognize that violence is me, it's not separate from me, the element of conflict ends, which is logic. Right? It is said that conflict ends. Then what actually takes place is, I'm describing, aren't you doing it? Aren't you doing it, Scott? That you are violent. You are not, violence is not separate. The word violence may be separating, right? So forget the word, the feeling of violence. That feeling is not separate from you. You are that feeling. Now, before you acted upon it, now you cannot act upon it because it's you. You can't hit yourself. Right? You can, but it's no fun. So, you are that. Then all movement of thought ceases, doesn't it? Thought which says, I must change, it must be changed, what's wrong with being violent, and so on and so on. All the movement of thought ceases, therefore you are, there is no movement except that feeling. Right? Can you hold that feeling without any movement? Then if you hold it, really, really be with it. not be with, let it be. Then the thing has no meaning, it's gone. As long as you're fighting, it has a meaning. As long as you resist it, control it, you're giving vitality to it. If you say, let's say, I'm brown, all right, you're brown. Get on with it. It's finished. It has no longer significance. So, that's another matter. So we're really talking about human consciousness as being similar. That's really important. I am the rest of mankind. I am mankind. For me, that is tremendously significant to me. And realizing that I am the guru, I am the disciple. You understand?